Liv, what is your duties as producer, and how did you get involved in documentary filmmaking?
Well, I actually changed my major 5 times. I came in as business, and then I switched to like international relations and physical, like kinesiology, and it wasn't creative enough for me. I was always a very creative, artistic, dramatic person, and so I went into journalism, and I liked it. It was a lot of, like I liked the creative writing and all that stuff. But I realized you had to be you kind of had to keep your personality out of journalism. You have to be very, very neutral, and you can't really be yourself too much in journalism. You have to tell other stories. But in documentary work, you can be yourself, and that's what I like about it. Is if I want to go do a documentary on Flint and I want to tell this side of the story, I can. Whereas in journalism, you kind of have to tell all aspects of the story, where I just want to focus on this. And so I added documentary as my minor, and I fell in love with it. And so as a producer, I send a lot of emails. I reach out to people, see if they want to sit down and interview with us, or if they know of someone who would want to interview with us, and make a lot of phone calls, and plan a lot.
I don't know how she does it. She's so good. Like, I'll get a phone call, and it'll be like, everyone's starting to get to bed, and like I'm in my pajamas, and Liv's like, "Hey, I got an interview. Are you ready to go?" I'm like, "Yep, I can be. Let's go." And it's very, like, the people that we've interviewed so far, I don't know how Liv tracks them down. She's so good at what she does.
Yeah, but no, I'm very blessed to have such a good team that's always, I'm like, hey, I'm always going 100 miles a minute. Like, my brain is always thinking in 18 different directions, but my team is really good at picking up where my brain is going and be like, okay, we're with you. We get what you're saying. Because that can be kind of hard sometimes, but so they stick with me.
We try.
Yeah.
What was your pitch?
Our pitch?
Yeah,
for
your pitch.
The Flint doc?
For the Flint doc, from Flint, yeah.
How
did you get everybody on board?
Oh, it was
What was
actually
pitch?
fairly easy. At first, everyone was a little, not apprehensive, but they kind of wanted to know like what our angle was.
Can you give us a timeline?
A timeline?
Yeah.
Oh man, who's the first person I reached out to?
Was it your idea?
It was mine and Isaac's. He's the director of photography. Him and I have worked together quite a bit before, and so we know how to work together really well. And so when we had to come up with the pitches, him and I both had the same idea to do Flint. And so we pitched that together, actually, and then everyone else was instantly on board.
Yeah, I remember we were sitting around like this big table, and everyone was talking about like, oh, well, I kind of wanted to do something about this, and like MSU has a lot of really interesting little subcultures and things like that. So we were all talking about this, and then suddenly Bob asks Liv, and she's like, well, I kind of wanted to do something on the Flint water crisis, and I'm like, of course, like how could we not? So then, since there were 2 documentaries, we kept talking and pitching for really the second documentary, because it was always like, oh yeah, we're doing the Flint one, but what would the second one be? It was just, I mean, it was so obvious, like this is a story that had to be told. It's literally in our backyard, and I really loved the angle that Liv came up with like Flint being forgotten, and how we really want to tell the people's story, and how the people of Flint have been kind of forgotten and neglected. And that was mid-January, and then it just has been a whirlwind of just calling people, interviewing people, meeting all these amazing activists, and just honestly, I've been trying to keep up with Liv, and it's been difficult juggling schoolwork, because I'm a full credit student, and I work 30 hours a week, so it's been kind of crazy. But I mean, I just haven't been sleeping for the past few months. But how can you? I mean, after listening to what's been happening, just like turning your back on this, I couldn't do it. It's something that needed to be said.